So here's some insider tricks to get your crispy chili beef really tasty. Step number one, and really important but so simple, is make sure whatever protein you're using, chicken, beef, pork, or even if you're using tofu, make sure it's really dry. If it's not dry, what's going to happen is the batter is going to slip off, it's going to make it really greasy, and it's not going to be crispy. So take some paper towel, just really give it a really nice pat. And you see all that moisture, it's just going to mean you're pulling off that moisture. It's just going to mean you get really crispy chili beef. Tip number two, make sure your oil is hot. The hotter the oil, the crispier the beef will be. You want your oil about 180, even up to 190 degrees centigrade. You can either use a deep frying thermometer or a thermometer to check. You can hover your hand over the pan really carefully to make sure it's nice and hot. My trick, I use a standard wooden spoon. There's always going to be a bit of moisture in a wooden spoon because wood naturally absorbs moisture. And if you put the wooden spoon into the oil, you should see little bubbles appearing. Just like that. Time to make the batter. I'm going to take my tempura flour from my tempura flour cap, pop that in. I'm going to use the cap as a convenient measuring device with the same amount of water. Just whisk that up, very simple. Now you could use cold water, sparkling water, that'll give you a slightly crispier result, but plain water is absolutely fine. I'll grab my nice dry beef strips, in they go, just a handful to begin. Just dredge them, make sure they're all nicely covered, and then very carefully I'm just going to slip them into the oil. You see that instantly when they hit the surface, it's starting to sizzle beautifully. So just do a little bit to begin with. You don't want to drop the temperature of the oil too much. Okay, now our beef's frying away nicely. I'm just going to let it sit. I want the temperature from the oil to really get into the beef. So our beef's nice and crisp, so I'm going to drain it, which is tip number three. Make sure you drain your beef on some paper towel. It's going to draw away any of the excess oil and make sure your beef is nice and crispy and beautiful and tender. So a little bit of paper towel, pop it on a baking tray, very simple. I'm just going to hit our beef with a tiny little bit of salt, and what this is going to do is going to draw any excess moisture and any excess oil further off the beef. So we've got our beautiful crispy chili beef. Now, fourth tip, and really important and very simple, is when you heat up your sauce, make sure you add your sauce at the very last minute. This is going to mean that beef stays really nice and crispy. Otherwise, the crispiness will go because the crust starts to absorb the sauce. So my sauce is on the hob. I'm going to warm it up, and when it's ready, I'll pour it over the top. So our sauce is nice and hot now. Our beef is beautifully crispy and ready to go. I'm just going to dress our beef. A little bit of our lovely sauce. Oh, it smells amazing. So crispy, delicious, and just a little bit indulgent, our beautiful Blue Dragon crispy chili beef.